One of the guys that I really don't want to see this weekend is Dre Greenlaw, and I'm hearing that he's going to give it a go. Now he's got a hip injury, he's got an ankle injury. He's probably, truth be told, has about 4 other nagging injuries, and he's just kind of dragging himself through this season. And they've got D. Winters sitting there, and they've got Jalen Graham sitting there, and they're playing a Cardinal team that I think they could probably beat without Dre Greenlaw. And to me, Matt, I think the 49ers need not just a Greenlaw, but they need Greenlaw, at full tilt to get to and win the Super Bowl this year. I'd love to see them baby him a little bit more down the stretch. What's your best guess? Do you think he's going to go? And if not, is it and with Burks out, do you expect to see Winters? Do you expect to see Graham? Wilks told me that Winters is ahead of Graham, but I kind of like Graham better.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that Greenlaw is going to go because Wilks said he was going to go when he spoke on Thursday, and because of what you just mentioned, Oren Burks is not going to go. So they're already one linebacker short. I agree with you. I think that Winters has been getting play ahead of Graham because he's better on special teams. He's faster. There's no doubt about that. Winters is one of the fastest guys on the team. So that makes him valuable on kickoff coverage and things like that. That's why he's been in uniform. I do think that Graham is the better linebacker. I've been sort of describing them as a rookie version of Warner and Greenlaw, where Graham is in the Warner role and Winters is in the Greenlaw role. The 49ers do think that Winters has a lot of Greenlaw skills, certainly has the same sort of profile. Low to the ground, fast, can turn on a dime. He doesn't have Dre Greenlaw's violence, his physicality. I'm not sure anybody does, but
right.
So it's not a 1-for-1 trade-off there. But I forget. I think Greenlaw signed for 1 more season. My thought is that the 49ers thinking is if Greenlaw leaves in 2025, they've got a guy in Winters who can kind of step into that role.
A lot of talent there. There's a lot of talent at linebacker for sure. And then Mooney Ward. I mean, I asked Wilks about Luter because I really liked the play that Luter made against Eskridge on Thanksgiving night. But they also have Logan Ryan, and he's got a corner experience. He's got safety experience. They've got Womack. They've got Oliver. They seem pretty well fortified, but Mooney's obviously their number 1 corner. What do you think there? I mean, do you think we'll see Luter? Do you think we'll see Jason Verrett? I've been down there this week, but I didn't spend a lot of time out at practice studying Verrett. What's Verrett looking like? How's he moving around?
Well, and you can just tell he's got a bounce in his step. I think he's very happy to be out there. And I think if he was struggling, we only see the beginning of practice and the drills and things like that. And he looks like he did last year and the year before. So I think he's very happy with where he is. And I think the 49ers are similarly happy with that. The question is, when would he kind of come into play? And I think if there was a scenario where Charvarius Ward got hurt for an extended period, they would want that veteran presence back there. I mean, it could be a really good story in the playoffs if something like that came to pass. I do think that Charvarius Ward at least is going to make a push to play. John Lynch was on the radio this morning saying that he wanted to come back into the game against Seattle, and the 49ers held him back. So to your point about Greenlaw, I don't know whether they would err on the side of caution in that and give that groin 1 more week to heal. Got a big game coming up on Christmas against the Ravens. So many defensive players are absent, though, that, each of these games is important to get that bye. And that's where you could have a really nice stretch where Dre Greenlaw gets healthy or healthier. All these guys, if you get that bye in the first round, and that's what everybody is shooting for. So that leads me to believe that if there's a chance that Ward can go, he will in Arizona.
Ji'Ayir Brown. I mean, he has been so good. And what buddy of mine asked me the other day, Krug, do you think Ji'Ayir Brown's better than Hufanga? And I realize Hufanga made the All-Pro team, and he's very instinctive. He flows towards the football almost at all times. He's almost like a coach on the field, and there's a lot to like about Hufanga. But Ji'Ayir Brown might be a better athlete, might be faster, might be the bigger hitter, might be the better cover guy, might be the more sure tackler. I mean, there's a lot of things that Ji'Ayir, when you really start to look closely, may even do better than Talanoa. One, what do you think of them as a combo next year? And would it be Hufanga at the strong safety in the box and Ji'Ayir as the free safety covering the deep middle in the cover three? Or how do you see the safeties? And is Brown, what would you say to somebody who says, hey, you know what? Brown's better than Hufanga? I mean, I'll say this. It's not like an absurd notion. It's not like, oh, no. It's close. I mean, it is really close.
Oh, I agree with you. And I think the 49ers should be kind of complimented for that. They found two guys later in the draft who I think it's obvious are starting caliber. And one guy better than the other. I'm having a hard time remembering Hufanga as a rookie. I know he came in a little bit in the end of the season. It was really his second year that he had his star turn, but they were sort of the same things. I mean, he made a lot of picks, went to the Pro Bowl in his second year. So, I mean, I don't want to cop out and say it's pretty even. I do agree with you. I think Brown is faster, and you see that speed. He's always in the right spot. But Hufanga was too, and I think that had to do with mental ability, anticipation, and things like that. Brown is physically faster than Hufanga, and if they were paired next year, and frankly, when they used a third-round pick on Brown, I thought that they saw Gibson and his age and the fact that he was only signed for 1 year, and their idea was to pair Hufanga and Brown next season, or at least in 2025. And in that scenario, I would say that Brown would be the free safety, Hufanga the strong safety, but there's so much. I mean, they're moving back and forth all the time. But in terms of deep speed and being in the right spot, even as a rookie, Brown's already shown a real knack for that.
Maddie, what has been the key to the Niners' defensive turnaround? Is it Wilks being on the sideline? Is it the addition of Chase Young up front? Is it Ambry Thomas playing the outside cornerback spot? Lenore shuttling inside and Oliver moving to the bench. I mean, if you had to say, those are the three biggest changes since Cincinnati, when Cincinnati just gashed the Niners seemingly in any way they wanted. And the Niners defense has looked remarkably improved since then. What do you most attribute it to?
Everything that you just mentioned is a factor in that. I think it's the coverages. I think that the three cornerbacks, Thomas, Ward, and Lenore, are playing really well right now, coming out of the bye. I talked to Steve Wilks about this in a piece that ran earlier this week, and he said that the 49ers were just too static. They're very proud of their defense, as they should have been, but it led to them basically not doing a lot of disguises, not doing a lot of movement. They were so sure about themselves that they would just line up and run whatever they were, lined up in, which adds to the speed of the unit. There's not a lot of thinking, et cetera, et cetera. That's their kind of ethos on defense. But teams had started to catch up with that, and especially teams with really smart veteran quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins and Joe Burrow. So before the Jaguars game, they really switched those up and did disguises and did things that they didn't usually do, a lot of pre-snap movement. And you could tell that Trevor Lawrence just didn't expect it. When Trevor Lawrence looked at the 49ers film, it was sort of, what you see is what you get with the 49ers. And when they started moving around, Lawrence, still kind of in the developmental stage of his career, just was overmatched. And he might have had the worst game he's had since he was a rookie. So I think that is the biggest thing. And when that started to happen, the defensive line really kind of took effect. And Chase Young helps in that. The fact that they were well rested helps in that. The fact that Lenore is playing nickel helps in that. But I think the coverage, certainly in that Jaguars game, which set the tone for the games after it, really was probably the biggest reason.